Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Reconize Game podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button one time for the one time. I'll greatly appreciate it. And make sure you turn on post notifications so you can be up to date with every single podcast episode. Now, you know I usually say this, but this one is super special. This is my dog, all right? You know, I usually like to give a little backstory of how I know somebody. So this is how I met this person, okay? So this is right around the time Call of Duty Vanguard was coming out. Never met this person, never spoke to this person at all. I'm sitting there talking to Shauna, that's how I met her. And we're talking to a bunch of people at one of the private Call of Duty events. And I'm talking to Shauna, and then she walks up to me. The first thing she says to me, never spoke to this person before in my life. What's up, T Dirty? You remember that?
I do. Oh, my God. Listen. That's because Shauna has said that. And I was like, right. You know what? No, I think I said T Dusty.
T Dusty, T Dirty. It's all the same. It's one of the two. But anyway, this is my dog, JayShale. I like to call her Mrs. Worldwide. She has been traveling to countries like Monaco. She's been in New Zealand. She's been to Africa. She is a co-host, a DJ, a music coordinator for the Atlanta Dream WNBA team, O.T.E. She DJed some of the biggest games in Atlanta. I was doing the research and I saw that you had DJed a game, the biggest game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 72,000 people, rocking the house. For those that don't know, this is my dog, JayShale. She pushed it to the limit.
Can we first? Okay, where did that come from?
Okay,
can we talk about that?
Yeah, we could talk about that. Okay, before we get started, this is where this came from. Because you ever heard that? And it's kind of corny, but it is what it is. You ever heard that that jingle, Sports Chalet, the Sports Chalet jingle? You got to look it up on.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, it's a Sports Chalet. So the thing is Sports Chalet. They push it to the. I think that's what it is. So then I just put your name in there, JayShale. She pushed it to the limit.
See, now
there it is.
I'm going to have to look at that.
I don't know if Rick Ross got that, but I never heard Rick Ross say that. But I just got it from that commercial.
The Push It to the Limit song.
Oh, Push It to the limit. I know Push It to the Limit, but I don't know.
We'll have to look it up.
We'll have to look it up. Yeah. Anyway, so we were just talking about cousin. Anyway, so like I said, my dog, DJ Shale. Thank you. Welcome to the Reconize Game podcast. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
By the way, I don't know if you know this. You are the first female guest, so I'm super excited. You're the first female guest on the podcast. And I think the story that you're going to tell is one that people need to hear.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on the podcast as the first female on here.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know we have a lot to talk about.
We definitely have a lot to talk about. So the first thing I want to ask you before we get all into it.
I'm a little nervous.
Nah.
You have like a smirk on your face. Because
you
don't even know what's about to happen.
You don't even know. No. But, we just go back. But, I just like to do my research on people. You know what I mean? So I was able to find some research on you. You know what I mean? And so the first thing I want to ask you, and this is a question that I know somebody wanted me to ask, is JayShale. What's the significance behind the name JayShale?
Okay, listen, I didn't know what the question was, but I don't know what
it.
So I'm not gonna put my government out there, but it starts with a J,
right?
And so therefore I was like, okay, cool, the J part, and then Shale is actually one of my middle names.
Okay.
So just
you got
JayShale.
Multiple middle names.
I have two
middle names. Okay. So now we're gonna get started at the beginning for people that don't know. All right. So you were born in, and I can't pronounce the name because you said it for me off camera. How do you say the name?
Regensburg,
Germany. For people that don't know. So you're from Germany. You spent, most of your life there, and then you moved to the U.S. in 2003. Yeah. I told you I did my research.
You did your research.
I told you.
Listen, you're on your Nardwuar vibes.
Hey, listen,
okay, that's fine.
You're JayShale. We have to know.
I'm not about to play with you.
Yeah, we have to know.
Okay, that's fair.
So what I want to discuss first is discuss what it's like, not only being multicultural, but growing up in Germany. That had to be different than being in the U.S. So describe what it was like growing up in Germany.
Yeah, so my mom's completely German, and my dad's American, and he got stationed in Germany. That's how they met.
Okay.
So German's actually my first language, and as you mentioned, based on your research, I didn't permanently move to the States until 2003. We did briefly move to the States in 2001, and then ended up going back But it was definitely a culture shock moving from Germany to the States, like in many different ways, from like the smallest things to like food and how food is prepared here. It's like more greasy and like all that stuff. And we in Germany tend to do like a lot more natural stuff, and even things such as like public transportation, you know, being on the bus or on a train. First of all, there's no public train system here at all. Whereas in Germany and Europe, you know, that's pretty common. Just certain, like even just different, like, Germany has like a lot of rules. Like Germans are pretty strict.
Okay.
And so we just have like a whole bunch of different rules over there. So even with that moving here, it just took a lot of getting used to. And American sayings are very interesting. Okay. But yeah, so it was an adjustment. And the first school that I actually went to was a British international school in Saudi Arabia. Right when I thought I would like got the gist of English, and then my professor had a British accent. So I'm like, can I cuss?
Yeah, yo. So do your
I was like, what the fuck are you saying?
Right.
Because I thought I knew a little bit of English, but like you're here saying, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
But then in 5th grade is when we had permanently moved to the States. And then 5th through now, that's how long I've been here.
That's pretty much the story.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said your mom is full German, and German is actually your first language. So you speak like fluent German. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Can you say something like JayShale, we push it to the limit in German?
I'm not about to say that. I'm not about to say that. Listen, you are not getting that out of me. You're not getting that out of me.
Okay.
T clean, du bist sehr gemein. Und das mache ich nicht, okay?
And that means?
I'm gonna
look. Hey, listen. We're gonna look that up. We're gonna look that up. Whatever you just said.
You have to look it up.
I ain't gonna lie. It sounded kind of fire though.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I know it's probably something crazy, but it sounded kind of fire.
I
will look it up. Okay.
You have to try to figure out to spell it.
So when you moved to the States in 2003, where did you guys end up?
El Paso, Texas.
Okay.
I love El Paso. Love El Paso. Actually, that's the longest place that I've lived outside of. Well, now I think Atlanta is now tied. Because I went to school in Houston, so I was there for 4 years. But I've been in Atlanta for 5 years now. But no, I lived in El Paso, Texas, 5th through 9th grade.
Okay. So one of my homies, Dante, he's also from El Paso. Mm-hmm. I call him the pride of El Paso. So I guess now you're also the pride of El Paso. I didn't know that. El Paso,
but also you have to keep in mind, what's his name? Khalid.
Okay.
Yeah. El Paso.
Yeah.
He's
okay. So we got
incredible artists.
Yeah, definitely a bunch of incredible people come out of El Paso. Yeah. So that explains the reason why you went to Texas Southern.
You know what? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Partially.
Okay.
A little bit.
So we're gonna speed ahead, through the adolescence when you went to college. So and you chose Texas Southern. A lot of influential, talented people come out of Texas Southern. One being Michael Strahan,
of course,
from Texas Southern.
Absolutely.
So what was the reason why you
recent graduate, Megan Thee Stallion?
Megan Thee Stallion, exactly.
Shout out to Meg.
Shout out to Meg.
Mm-hmm. Yolanda Adams.
Yolanda. Hey, Lou, what I say. A lot of talented, including yourself.
Thank you.
A lot of talented people come out of Texas Southern.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the reason why you chose that school out of all the schools that you could have went to in Texas?
So it's funny that you say that. Y'all can't tell because I'm sitting down. He said I'm like kind of tall, but like not for real. But I'm taller than him.
No, she is. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were like remembering you. I thought you were like 6 foot, but you're probably like 5'11".
I'm a good 5'10".
Yeah,
5'10". Maybe. Okay.
I'm 5'9",
I'll take it. Okay, then maybe like a 5'11".
Yeah, you're 5'11".
Yeah, I'll take it. That's fine. Maybe I had a growth spurt.
Okay.
I don't know. But no. So I definitely thought that I was gonna be in the league. Hooping. My entire life was built around basketball and music. I've played instruments, whatever. And so injuries and life and weird coaches kind of led me to focus more on a different sport. My parents, so as I mentioned, my mom's from Germany, dad was in the military. A really popular sport on base is bowling. And so I spent years in the bowling alley, just in the daycare when my parents were doing Friday night bowling, whatever. And then I told my dad that I want to bowl. And he's like, well, they have, Saturday morning youth league. So for me, bowling was always like the calm sport at the end of the week from basketball, practice, games, whatever, blah, blah, every Saturday morning. And when I got into high school, my dad was like, do you want to start like competing in like tournaments? And I was like, sure. And so I was doing city tournaments, state tournaments, and there's this really, really big tournament called Junior Gold. And you kind of have to like qualify to even be able to make it to like the finals, which they alternate years between Vegas and Indianapolis. And it's basically the top high school bowlers in the United States. Right. And I ended up qualifying and that year was in Indianapolis. And so went up to Indianapolis, and I just thought it was people running around wearing different school stuff. Right. I didn't even know apparently you could go to school for bowling. I did not know that.
That's a news to me.
I did not know that. So I was just like, okay, people just really proud of their colleges up here, I guess, just got all their stuff on. But lo and behold, they were scouts. And a week after we had gotten back from Junior Gold, I was starting to get, because I'd gotten basketball letters in the mail, but I was getting like bowling letters in the mail. And I was like, Dad, look, they spelled spelled basketball wrong. He was like, no. And then we like put some tapes together, sent those out. And I thought, I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. I didn't plan for school. I was like, it don't matter what I study, I'm be hooping. Like, what am I going? What I need to do, right? And so then just after some more research and meeting with some of the coaches and all that, and then me having an affinity for Texas, having lived there, I was like, you know what? I think Texas Southern would be a pretty cool school. Shout out to the TSU, HBCU love.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah.
I love that. I have my daughter. She's 15, going on 16, and one of her dream schools to go to was like Stanford, because she also plays softball. She's varsity 10th grade and all of that. Nice. But she's opening herself more and more up to maybe the HBCU. As a father, that makes me so happy.
I think it's so funny that we're having this conversation, because I was just we was having this conversation last night. Mm-hmm. College is a really big pivotal point for a lot of people, and especially for women. And I think that, 'cause for me being mixed, I was growing up, I was never black enough for the black kids and not white enough for the white kids. And, so it's always like a thing. And so, really wanting to experience that and going to an HBCU, like you get your education, all that stuff, just as you do at a PWI and tons of other schools. But like, there's nothing quite like outside of the culture, but just like the family orientedness that you get attending an HBCU. Now, the financial aid office be tripping sometimes. But other than that, and just, you learn your academics, but you learn a lot about yourself too. And that was probably one of my favorite things, is that I really had the chance to just really figure out who I was in college. So
I love that. And then, going to Texas Southern, can you describe like your experiences there as a college student, but also as an athlete? Yeah.
So that was another reason why I was like, look, this is gonna sound a little bougie. I was like, I've been a student athlete all my life. I'm not going to go be a regular student. Right. Like, I'm gonna be a student athlete. Right. So obviously, student athletes, we always have extra perks. You know what I'm saying? Anyways. But just being on campus and then being able to just experience, you learned. I was part of the honors college as well, because I had really good grades. So Thomas F. Freeman, actually, who's like the greatest debate coach of all time. I think the movie is called, what is it called? Freedom Riders. I think that debate movie, they had hired him to like actually teach it. Like, he's incredible. It's he's passed, but just such an incredible human being. And so just being around such influential Black people that have really made an impact just in so many people's lives, and just in the direction of how people choose to, approach their lives, was just, it was incredible. And the music, and just like Catfish Fridays, like football games. Like I went to the very white school in Alabama my last 2 years of high school. And so going from like what the, drumline sound, because I was also on the drumline. I'm sure we're going to get into all that stuff, but going from that and then going to an it's just so much fun. It's truly so much fun.
I love that. And I hope that my daughter sees the way and decides to go to a HBCU, because she has a grade, and she's, a fledgling, like I said, she's a fledgling softball player, varsity in the 9th grade.
Texas Southern has a good softball team.
Well, hey, listen, we'll see what we can do.
I'm just saying.
We'll see what we can do.
I'm just saying, because it's more, it's just more to it than the education for sure. Obviously, it's an accredited university, not me sitting here promoting, all right, Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas, home of the TSU Tigers.
There you go.
But yes, it's a great school, and I had a time.
I love that. Great. So you did mention, and which is something I want to get into, that you were on the drum line. Mm-hmm. Growing up, you played multiple instruments. Mm-hmm. Now, would you consider yourself an instrumentalist? Because I consider myself an instrumentalist. Mm-hmm. I played multiple instruments as well. Yeah. I wonder if I got you beat. How many instruments did you play growing up? Name them. Name the instruments.
So in Germany, the recorder is a very well-respected instrument.
Oh, yeah, I know about the recorder a little bit.
Contrary to, Here
the U.S. standards.
Y'all play hot cross buns on a plastic piece and that's it.
Because that's what a recorder is, though.
No, I had what? My mother and I had wooden recorders. Okay. I took lessons, all that stuff.
Recorder lessons.
Yeah, so that taught me to be able to read music.
Okay.
At an early age, I believe I started when I was like 6. But then after we moved to the States, and I learned that the recorder was like, we don't do that. Yeah. I told my mom, because, in 5th grade, you pick either band, orchestra, whatever, choir. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come home with a violin. My mom was like, okay. I ended up coming home with a cello. So she's like, well, that's a little bit bigger than a violin. I was like, well, it sounds great. So the recorder, the cello, for sure. And then I play the piano as well. So then when I did join band, my senior year in high school, because that high school that I went to did not have an orchestra, so I played for the city orchestra. I played the marimba and the xylophone because it's a mallet instrument similar to a piano. Glockenspiel. So I keep hitting that. No, you're good. Glockenspiel.
No, say it the other way, because that sounds more sexy.
I figured you would have known.
No.
Glockenspiel.
Okay.
That's how you really say it.
Okay.
And then we had an indoor drum line, so during the spring semester I played the bass drum, so I was on my Nick Cannon vibes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at 1, 2, 3, so like 5 or 6 instruments. That's pretty good.
But like played them well. Like I you know what I'm saying? I don't mean it like that.
No, that's exactly what you're saying, big dog.
No, because people will be like, oh yeah, I speak French, and they know how to say 1, 2, 3 or something. Right, exactly. Right. So I messed around with but like instruments that I actually played.
Well. I like that though. She said no, but I played them well.
I didn't mean it like. Okay, what instruments did you play?
So you had me beat growing up.
Okay.
I didn't start playing like multiple instruments till I already like hit high school, but started out playing the trumpet. That's the instrument I've been playing. I don't know, how am I about to be 40? Shut up. Listen, okay. Don't try to Kevin Hart.
I didn't say anything.
Damn. Yeah, exactly. I'm about to.
I didn't say it.
Yeah, it was in your mind.
I saw it. I didn't say it out loud.
I saw the wheels turning in your forehead.
I didn't say it out loud.
Because the forehead kind of big. Anyway.
Damn.
Anyway, yeah. No. So I started out playing the trumpet, and then I've been playing that since the 6th grade. Right. So 800 years ago.
Right.
And then
damn.
Yeah, exactly. And then I piano, drums, both there's 4 saxes, but I played the tenor and the alto. Yep. And then a little bit bass, a little guitar. I dabbled in the violin a little bit, but it wasn't for me. Flute, clarinet.
All the woodwinds.
Pretty much.
Nice.
And then, so that's pretty much
That's
it.
Dope.
Yeah, and I played them well.
I was going to say, which ones
I played them all. I played them
You played them all well? I like that.
I played them all well.
Own it.
Yeah, because, as somebody that has not only played instruments, but also is a DJ and that's a vocalist, and we'll get into that too.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Like once you play one instrument, it's easy to learn another instrument, especially like if you're reading bass clef or if you're reading treble clef or anything like that. Sorry, this is some nerd talk for y'all. Y'all probably like, what are they talking about?
Clefs?
Yeah, y'all, what are they talking about? Nah, but somebody that's into music, it's easy to just pick up an instrument once you've played an instrument.
Yeah.
Now, getting into the vocal stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I told you we do our thing here on the Game Recognize Game podcast, okay? So you were a singer.
Did you say were or are?
R. Excuse me.
No, I'm asking. I didn't hear which one you said.
Me. I said word, but R is a better term.
No, I think were.
Okay. So how did you? So that must have been when you were growing up. I was obviously playing music. Your mom, probably your dad, threw you in choir or something like that.
Actually, so my mom, and I didn't find this out until I was a bit older. She used to like sing for real, and I didn't know that. So my dad, his talents are like sports. He can't really hold a note. Sorry, Dad. Love you. But like all the musical stuff is definitely from my mom and my mom's side of the family. Like my uncle, he played 11 instruments very well.
Okay, I love that.
And was like a one-man band. Okay. Super incredible human being. And so I was just always kind of just like singing around the house. Never really did it seriously. Thought that I, whole whatever, just was singing around just because of music. You know what I'm saying? And music and sports have always been a really big part of my life. And when I got to college, so back to the bowling thing, This might be a little bit corny based on the corny stuff that you were saying. You know, when you had mentioned that earlier, like for bowling, we would have like cheers, but we would take like popular songs and like make them like bowling related, talk about spare strikes, whatever. And so the songs that were like sing-song songs, I would just like purposely add like a little, you know what I'm saying? Like a little oomph.
Okay.
And so it got to the point where we would be bowling, you know, in the tournaments, and other teams would be like, oh, we can't wait to bowl next to you. We just want to hear you sing. And I was like, let me find out y'all think I sound good. Oh my God. And so I was like, maybe this is something I should take a little bit more seriously. Signed to this like very, very, very small independent label. Terrible experience. Terrible experience. But learned a lot, you know. And so then when I graduated and I accepted a job with Eli Lilly, the pharmaceutical company, so I ended up back in Indiana anyways. I was like, cool, I don't have practice, I don't have class, I don't have tournaments, I don't have weights, I don't have, you know, any of those things, so I can focus on music. And so at that time, I thought I wanted to be a vocalist. So I befriended all the people at the radio station, and, you know, that's kind of like, I was like, once I have like radio ready records, how can I get them played on the radio? And they were like, well, you know, get it in the hands of the DJs. They'll play it around town. That's kind of how I got into DJing. Totally different story.
I remember.
But
but yeah. I know, excuse me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because you did your research.
Yeah, you know.
Since you got your degree.
Yeah, exactly. Since I got my
Since you got your degree. But yeah, so I still, you know, sing around from time to time, but not anything that I'm actively pursuing at this time.
So can we get a note, or what are we doing here? I asked for a note. I didn't ask for a note. I just asked for a note.
That's what you got.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'll take it. We'll take it. I heard it. I don't know what it was. I don't know what note it was, but it was a note. I love that. that. So, so around 2016 is when you discovered DJing.
Yes, this research is researching.
Yeah. So, at the radio station, like you said, you wanted to get your records played. So, how you got into DJing was you saw somebody DJing and you said, "Oh, I can do that.
I can do that."
And this is around 2016.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
You indeed got these timestamps.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Listen, I do my thing out here. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I like it. But yeah, so that's how that went. And then because of my musical background, you know, I was like, I don't know what these buttons do, but I understand music theory. I love music. Right. You know, so I was like, this seems kind of interesting. And I'm the type of person where, you know, I will try anything I'm interested in, you know, just to see if it's something that, oh, this is going to be a hobby. Oh, I actually suck. Oh, this could be like a thing. You know what I mean? And so that's how the DJing thing came about. And I bought like a cheap little controller. It was like a $200 Numark controller from Guitar Center, went on YouTube actually, and was like, all right, what do these buttons mean? And then just started playing around on it for like a week or 2 weeks. And one of my really good friends, Brent, he's like one of the top barbers in the city, and he like knew all the promoters in the city. And so he got me connected with Rob, and I was like, hey, Rob, I don't know how this works. I'm very, very, very new. Right. But if you ever need a DJ, you know, and he's like, well, we have an industry night on Sundays. I'll give you the first hour. I'm sure it's probably hot ass. Honestly, I don't even know what I thought I did, but I thought I was doing it. And then ever since then, yeah, just things have been like
kind of blowing up.
Yeah.
So you DJ'd around a lot of the clubs in Indianapolis growing up. So I'm not growing up, but when you were starting out.
Yep.
How long before you actually saw somebody DJing, you picked it up yourself to where you were actually like DJing in clubs?
That literally within that first month.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very rapid timing. Right. But like I literally went, because I don't go out, contrary to what I do now too. I'm such a homebody. Like I love being at the house. And so I went out, like, let me network for my music. Okay, hey, you know, I'm JayShale. JayShale was watching them. I was like, that's kind of cool. Right. Literally that next week, let me go get this little controller, then practice for like 2 weeks. Hey, Brent, you know some people? Yeah, I do. And then like literally like it happened very quickly. Okay. Very, very, very quickly.
Yeah. I did read that it happened super quick for you. Mm-hmm. So then you're you know, DJing around Indianapolis, and then in 2018.
These dates. Who is your research? Listen.
Yes.
I ain't mad at it.
Yeah. And in 2018, you moved to Atlanta.
That's crazy.
And that's where things really started taking shape. Right?
That is true.
Yeah. That
is true. No, yeah, I felt like I had like started to progress really quickly in Indianapolis, and Indianapolis in like the radio world or like music world is considered a B market. So like LA is absolutely an A market. Atlanta's an A market, you know? And so I'm like, well, if I was already able to like do all these things here, because within those first 2 years, I, you know, was DJing various club events. And then I also had the opportunity to DJ for the Colts pregame. and had like a couple of other things, and had the opportunity to DJ for Trina, which I'm, you know, really cool with her and her peoples now, you know. So I was like, if I can do this here, once again, I feel like as a creative, you have to have like some sort of delusion.
Right.
And for me, I'm like, shit, if I can do this here,
right. I can do this anyway.
Let me go figure out where I need to go. So I visited Atlanta, New York, and LA to figure out where I wanted to move to. And being that Atlanta is like the music capital, especially for, you know, type of music we like to listen to. I listen to everything, but you know what I'm saying when I say what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
I was like, you know what? I feel like Atlanta could be like a good starting point for me. I decided that I would never want to live in New York because it's too hectic up there. Like eventually I'll probably move out to LA, but I think for now, like immersing myself in the mix of everything Atlanta might be the best move. And so that's how I ended up deciding that I wanted to move to Atlanta. And then when I first got there, I was Ubering. So I had restaurant server experience from when I was at Texas Southern. So I was in the restaurant. I was trying to figure stuff out because I'd spent all my money on the move, and like I had money saved up from when I had left the corporate job that I had. But you don't realize how fast you run through money when you dream chasing.
Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
You're talking to somebody that decided to quit a very high paying job to pursue Call of Duty content.
No, I understand. Yeah. Listen, I understand. And me having that conversation with my dad to quit a 401k pension, salaried, benefited. Like they call Lily the golden handcuffs because that job, like it's true. It's an incredible place to work for sure. And I was like, you're quitting that to do what?
Right.
Music.
Right.
You know, so I definitely absolutely understand. But like I said, there has to be, I feel like as a dreamer, as a creative, you just have to have some sort of delusion, like at least not even like the bad, but just like, I know I can do this. I don't know how I'm gonna make it happen, but I know I'll make it happen some sort of way. So that's how I was in Atlanta. I was DJing at this hole in the wall hookah lounge, 5 hours for $100, just trying to like figure stuff out. That's when I learned that the parties that I wanted to DJ, because at the time, I didn't grow up watching DJs. So I was like, oh, I want to be like, there aren't any entrepreneurs in my family. So I'm just winging life. I don't know what the fuck going on, but
you gonna figure it out.
I'm here. Me and my dog, we literally, my animal, we gonna figure it out.
I love it.
So I just didn't really have a sense of direction. So I was just like, okay, DJs, the types of DJs that I've seen are club DJs and radio DJs. So let me go network with the radio people. Maybe in order to be a successful DJ, I have to be on the radio, or maybe I have to be in the clubs. And I learned really quickly that in Atlanta, especially also because I'm not from there, the promoters like that DJ the big parties where the big celebrities come through, they already have their DJs and they've been tight. They probably went to middle school together. You know what I'm saying? Like so I'm like, how am I going to like network and get into these spaces? And my really, really good friend, Nick, shout out Nick, my best friend. He was like, why don't you just start posting stuff online? I was like, for what? Who gonna see it? He was like, I don't know, just try it. And I was like, no. And then I didn't. And then maybe like a month later, I was like, okay, I recorded something. I think I'm gonna post it online. And ever since that,
I know.
Over with.
Listen,
over with.
Went viral, acquiring millions of views throughout social media. Yeah. So I want to get back to something that you said just a minute ago about having to have that conversation with your father.
Oh gosh.
So what was that? So first off, how did you tell him that you were going to quit your job? And the second part of that conversation is, what was his actual reaction to when you said, you know what, Dad, I think I'm going to try to go in this direction?
My dad, love my parents. They always have, best interests for sure. But they're like very, especially my dad. I feel like over time it's definitely gotten better. But like my dad, very military, very traditional, very, And so I had a job offer from NASA as well as Eli Lilly. And my dad was upset that I selected Eli Lilly over NASA. And he was like, he security, this and the third. I was like, well, Dad, unfortunately, people are always going to be sick. So pharma, as I have my quarrels with the pharmaceutical industry, but unfortunately, that's job security also, because there's always gonna be some sort of medication made for something, And so that was like already his first thing. Then when I like showed him my packet and all, he was like, okay, I guess that's fine. So I was like, all right. But having that conversation was, a little tough. I kind of packed it like down in my memory bank a little bit, but I was just like, this isn't what's making me happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I have a different purpose, and I don't think it's where, I don't know what it is still, but I just feel like I should be doing something with music. Right. Like, I feel like music has been so like dominant and like in my life where I'm like, I feel like I have to do something with it. And me being here at this corporate job, although a wonderful place once again, and I met, a lot of great people there, some people that I'm still friends with now, like, this is just not it's just not it.
Right.
And so, I think out of like tough love, my dad did intentionally do things to make it a bit more difficult for me in that transition, kind of as like a
deterrent.
I feel like in a sense, but only because it was unknown to him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I am the first entrepreneur in my family. And so financial stability is something that everybody wants. Right. And so it's like, okay, you're educated, you have a degree, why would you do this stuff? You know what I'm saying? Right. So, that definitely was some trying times for a couple years actually. But then I feel like over time he kind of was like opening himself up to being like, okay, let me at least try to like understand, because I don't know what she doing this stuff and how does this even work. I'm like, to be honest, I don't even know how this works, but I had to try to do it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So now he went to my first show, I think a couple months ago, both he and my mom. So it was the first time that they actually both got to see me. Because when I was a DJ, because I DJed for the Falcons for 3 seasons.
Yep.
My dad loves football. And so he's from Florida. And so my favorite team has always been the Buccaneers, even before Tom Brady got there back in the day when we were hot ass. Okay. Just I love, my favorite player is Rondé Barber. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
We taking it back.
Yes, ma'am.
We taking it back.
Yes.
And so I was like, well, maybe if I invite him to the Falcons Bucks game, like, they'll drive out to Atlanta because they live in Alabama. Like, they'll drive out to Atlanta and like maybe then he can see. And they just never made. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna just have to keep pushing through it regardless. You know what I'm saying? Because I see the vision, and even though they're family, if they don't see it, that's not on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still have to. This is my life, right? And I can't live my life for other people. And I feel like I did all the things that I'm supposed to do as a child. I went to school, I graduated, I got my degree, I don't have student loans. I feel like I did the damn thing. So let me do what the fuck I want to do, even though I don't know what it is.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But like, let me try. You know what I mean? So my mom came around a lot sooner than my dad.
I was gonna ask you, did mom's more
my mom's
fast?
been my number one fan. Like, if I wanted to make podcast stands, she'd be like, girl, you be welding that metal for them podcast stands, girl. Like, what just whatever. But my dad more so on the, I feel like part of it might have been like a personal thing, like because he has a very, can't really talk about his job, right. You know what I'm saying? But like he, so when like him and his like coworkers, this is my assumptions, but like when they would have conversations, like I when I was at Lilly, it was like something for him to like brag and be able to talk about, and then it's like, oh, she's trying music. You know what I'm saying? It's just like kind of like a different type of thing. Yeah. So, like I said, this is just based off assumptions and things that my mom and I have talked about. But he's definitely come around, super supportive. Like, will watch stuff, and like I'm just glad that he's come around, because I am big on support, but I'm the type of person where I'm gonna do it even if nobody supports me if I believe in it. So now everything is good. All good. We are all good.
I love that. So getting back into the DJ part, moving to Atlanta 2018, in the restaurant industry, trying to figure things out. And then
I was Ubering my ass off.
I know that's right.
I was touching every corner of Atlanta in my little Uber. Okay.
I know that's right. So when you were in Atlanta, is that where you got the break to open up for Jazzy Jeff? Or was that earlier than that?
That is a good question, because that was Yes, that was Atlanta.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
that was
you were in
2019.
Okay. So you were in Atlanta then.
Yes.
Okay. So you opened up for DJ Jazzy Jeff. What was that?
Oh my
What was that like? Because, that's my era, right? I mean, a little bit of yours, but more of my era. DJ Jazzy Jeff, like, he's one of the greatest of all time.
Absolutely.
For music, DJing, and just anything music.
Yes.
So what was that like, actually being able to open up for him?
Oh my God, it was incredible. He is such a down-to-earth human being. And going back to, I never thought that I was going to be a DJ. So like, I wasn't, to then obviously, even though I wasn't a DJ, of course I knew who DJ Jazzy Jeff was. Fresh, you know who that is. You know what that is. And so then getting into the DJ space, and then the venue reaching out, because the venue had reached out about opening up for him. I was like, yes. Do I say yes? Where do I sign? Y'all ain't even gonna pay me. Yes, absolutely. Obviously they did, but just getting there, and then during sound check, I sound checked first, and then he came in, and he was just such a sweet human being. And to be able to watch him, because he's more of like a technical DJ, to watch him like cut up and beat juggle and all these cool things, I was like, wow, this is super, super dope. And like I say, he's just an incredible human being. So to be able to do that and already have that like on my resume of things pretty early on, I feel very, very thankful and very blessed for that, for sure. But definitely was fire.
Yeah, looking back, like I said, doing my research and just looking back, a lot of things happen for you very, very fast.
Yeah, they did.
You know, but the one thing that I always say about situations like yours, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
And putting yourself out there. I feel like a lot of people are afraid to fail, or I think I tweeted something the other day because I'd seen it on TikTok. Like, a lot of people are afraid to be seen trying. Right. And it's like, why? Yeah. You know, I feel like people get embarrassed very easily, or like, especially in the social media era where you're just so exposed to just strangers and people you don't know. Like, people can say whatever they want to say about you if you choose to put whatever it is that you know you're doing out there. But I'm just big on creating the type of life that you want to live, you know, and if you're passionate about something, now all passions don't necessarily need to be like your main, they can still be hobbies and things like that. But like, just put yourself out there. And so with things, even with the Falcons stuff that came about. So one of my friends in middle school, her brother's Nick Cannon's DJ. Okay. And so when I found out that Wild 'N Out was going to be shooting in Atlanta, they're shooting in Atlanta, I hit her up like, yo, she's like, yeah, here's his number, whatever. I was like, hey, first of all, I love the show. You know what I'm saying? Love the show. Would love to like come up or, you know, whatever. And actually I misspoke. They were shooting in New York, and I was like, you know, and he was like, well, if you can come up here, you can come to the show. And I was like, didn't really have much money, but I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. Exactly. I'm gonna figure it out. So I was like, okay, so got me a flight up there. It was the show that I was able to go to. I believe it was a Rick Ross and somebody else's episode. I can't remember. And so DJ Dev is his name. Shout out DJ Dev. He DJs before DJ D-Rec goes on to like hype up the crowd before the show starts, but then he also DJs in the green room. And so he was DJing in the green room, and once again, I'm just somebody telling me no, that doesn't I don't want to say it doesn't faze me, but like I don't mind being told no. Right. So he was like DJ, and I was like, do you mind if I hop on for a little bit? He's like, no, go ahead. I was like, okay. So literally on his equipment, on his just, you know, was messing around. And so I saw some of the cast members, you know, start vibing. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I was like, okay, kind of like planting the seeds, you know what I mean? And so then when they were in Atlanta, I had to hit him up again. He's like, yeah, pull up, you know, do you want to DJ in here more? Like, come DJ in here more. So I appreciate that, because a lot of people be like, I saw you do a good job. So like, no, I ain't finna, you know. And so that's how I started DJing in the green room a little bit more. And then some of the Falcons reps were there. And they had come up and were like, yo, like, you a vibe. Like, have you DJ? I'm like, no, I haven't DJed huge crowds yet, you know. And they were like, well, her name is Kelsey. Shout out to Kelsey. Listen, I'm going to give people their flowers, okay? Hey, and she was like, yo, for sure. She was like, yo, we kind of want you to DJ, like, the biggest game we will have this season, the Falcons and Saints game. You think you're up for that? I was like, yeah. Absolutely. 72,000 people, packed stadium.
So at that point, that's obviously the biggest crowd that you've ever DJed in front of.
Yes, absolutely. And so even with that, none of that would have come about if I didn't take a chance on myself, even with little to no money. And just, hey, can I? Because if you would have said no, okay, cool, it would have been what it was. You know what I'm saying? But like, hey, can I? Yeah. Hey, can I? Hey, that's literally that's my type of vibe, and I do understand that my path and my journey is very untraditional, and so I do recognize that I am blessed to be able to have done all the things that I'm doing, and especially at, you know, the rate that I've been doing them. Shout out, you know what I'm saying? Shout out, go ahead. I appreciate you, sir. You know what I'm saying?
So, you know, speaking of Atlanta Falcons, you know, you DJ'd the biggest crowd ever in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And you spent 3 years as the game day DJ and the in-house DJ. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was super dope. So the game that they had me DJ, the Saints and Falcons game, was for that season. I can't even remember what year that was. But then they brought me on for every game that next season. And so they were, Kelsey had sent me pictures because they had like built this stage on the concourse where I was like overlooking the field, but I wasn't like off in the cut where nobody knew what I was. And like fans, I was like right above some of the stands. Excuse me. And so fans could also like come up to the stage, like it was kind of blocked off, but like be around. So it was like a super dope vibe, and just being able to just continue. I'm just big on creating an energy and creating an atmosphere. And so that's one of my favorite things as a DJ. And so being able to do that on like and being able to play a variety of music, because I'm also an open format DJ. So I don't just DJ like one style of music. And so before the season, they'll send me like, hey, these are the season ticket holders. These are what their song or like genres that they like. I had to throw some rock and roll in there, you know, just whatever. And so it was challenging in the sense that I was like, okay, this is my first time really being able to really, really play a variety of different types of music to make sure that I'm, you know, satisfying everybody here. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Is that opportunity what opened up the opportunity for the Atlanta Dream?
No. How did the Atlanta Dream opportunity come about? Yes. So for the 3 seasons that I was with the Falcons, 2 of them were in the arena, and then the last season I spent outside. They had gotten like some new management or like new leadership, and so Kelsey and all them people like left, and she didn't know the new lady didn't really know what she was doing. This is what I was being told, you know. And she wanted like more of a radio personality indoors as a DJ. So that's when they ended up getting Big Tigger, because, you know, he's very well known. And so like, it's like cross promo kind of, and that's not something I could offer, but they were like, we don't want to kick you out. So we don't put you outside. Right. You know, so that's fine. Cause I would do the tailgate for all the, season ticket holders. So I would be a big ass party outside. And one of the guys who left along with everybody else, once the new lady came in, his name is Connor. Shout out Connor. He accepted a job with Overtime Elite, because O.T.E came about before that Atlanta Dream came about.
So that I got it mixed up. Okay.
So was doing work with O.T.E, and in those spaces, sometimes companies bring on like an external company to hire the talent. And so the group was called 3 Point Productions. So it was O.T.E 3 Point Productions. And so even though Connor was with O.T.E, because O.T.E was working with 3 Point Productions, I was technically hired on as a contractor through 3 Point Productions. And so with that, throughout the season, 3 Point Productions also handles the Atlanta Dream. And so I guess I did a good job or whatever. And they were like, you know what, like, if you're open to it, we would love for you to come DJ for the Dream. And so then the Dream reached out, and they're like, we want to do something totally new this year. You know, we've checked out your socials. We've been to, you know, some of your shows, this, then, the third. And like, we want you to be like the first ever like front facing DJ.
And I was going to ask you so I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask you, I saw that you were the first front facing DJ. So I don't even know what that is.
Yes.
It sounds very dope.
Thank you.
So explain what a front-facing DJ is. What is that?
Yeah. So when you go to any type of basketball game regularly, like this is something I learned within the last year and a half, you know, of being back into the sports world, is you have a DJ and you have a music coordinator. Those are 2 completely different roles. So if you're watching, what's your favorite NBA team?
I don't really have a favorite team, but I like to watch the Clippers.
I
like to watch.
So you're watching the Clippers game,
right,
where you're at a Clippers game and you hear the dun, dun, the defensive chants and like the instrumentals. That's the music coordination piece of your entire experience, their game day experience. The DJ will any commercial music that you hear. So before the game, halftime, timeouts, whatever. Like that's the DJ's job. And so the DJ, you don't know where they at. Like they just somewhere in the arena, so you don't know where they're at. And so for the Atlanta Dream, they built me a stage, and so I'm on the floor, and so on the court behind one of the baskets is where like my stage is set up, and so it's considered front facing because I'm visible by the attendees, and so because I co-host, DJ, and music coordinate for the Overtime Elite, but I co-host and DJ because we have a separate music coordinator for the Dream. And so at times the music coordinator will take over, and I'll also get on the court with our other co-hosts and, you know, do whatever type of engaging game day activities we do for that. But front facing, just basically y'all know where I'm at, and y'all can see me. I have featured slots, things like that. Yeah.
Okay. So being that you played sports your entire life, you thought that one day you were going to go to the league. Do you ever get the itch to get out there and try to...
You know, where's my water? It's so funny you should say that. Because the answer is yes. Right. I thought that itch was gone. I really did, because I was like, it's been so long since I've played. Right. Basketball is always going to be my favorite sport. Right. Like, it's the best sport in the world. I love other sport, but basketball is the one for me.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Like, you just got to hang it up. Yeah. You got to hang it up. But then having been back in that space with Overtime Elite, Basketball Africa, the Basketball Africa League, the Atlanta Dream, I'm like, I thought this itch was gone, but it's not. It's not. So it's funny you should say that, because it's actually my first time saying this publicly.
Okay.
But I've been back training with an NBA trainer. Because there's this league called I ain't even gonna go. No. I can't tell you all the details. Listen.
Exclusive on the Game Recognize
I'm not gonna say all the details.
But it's an exclusive.
But I'm training for I already have a tryout, but for a particular league.
Okay.
That also has W players in it. Okay. So I'm currently actually training to get back, taking me back to what I was saying about I'm the type of person where if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna try it, and I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody but myself. Right. Like I was talking to him the other day. I was like, it has been 13 years since I've like trained. Like I've played around, you know, like pickup games, stuff like that, but like actually been in the lab, ball handling, like 13 years. Mm-hmm. So it's been, you know, I've had to purchase 2 stem machines, get my ice on my knees. I'm like, yeah, I'm old. I'm old. But yeah, so I'm actually currently training to prepare for that for next year. So even if it doesn't happen, I feel like the journey, I'm already learning a lot about myself in that part of the things. Obviously, we gonna put all the good juju out there. Right. But yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like, you know, your path and everything that you've done is like kind of like the Midas touch. Like you touch something and it just automatically just goes. So I could definitely see you training, getting back into basketball shape. Because, you know, being in shape and being in basketball shape, two totally different things.
Two totally different things. You could be the strongest person in the gym. You could be the fastest person running this basketball conditioning, and like there's two totally different things.
So I could see you like back hooping, semi-professional or professional. You know, I see a lot of the clips that you put out when you're shooting the basketball, when you're doing out there with O.T.E, and you're like, you can play though for real.
Trained,
you can play for real.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I have like trained, but luckily, one thing I've never lost is my shot.
And that's what I always tell people. So, you know, I was just recently at Swag did this little 1v1 tournament, and I was recently there. Nobody knows this because we didn't get it on social media. So after the game, we're out there shooting around. I'm hitting shots. You know, I'm missing shots, hitting shots. Dante, he's like, I'm shooting. And he's like, $100 if you make the next shot. I said,
cash out.
I said, you serious? Obviously, I got the ball, turned around, shot it, made it, turned around, and I said, stop playing with me.
Don't play with it.
Listen, don't play with it, because the one thing you never lose is your shot. If you were
your legs might get tired, you may not can make 100 of these.
I'm not gonna cross you up and get by you like I used to. But guess what I will do? You put me over in that corner. Listen, you gonna get at least 50% out of me.
Money.
I'm money from the corner. Listen.
Every time.
That's the one thing that you'll never lose is the jump shot. Now you might lose the legs, like you said. You ain't gonna lose the jump shot. Yeah. How are your legs now that you're back training again?
They're like, oh, we ain't did this in a minute. I have to do pool workouts. Okay. I'm like, I'm in it. Right. I'm in it. I'm training like I'm finna be in the NBA. Like I am. Okay. I'm in it. My legs are definitely like, all right, girl, we gonna get used to it. But right now, you tripping. Yeah. You tripping.
Right. So I want to talk to you about O.T.E. Mm-hmm. So for the people that don't know, what is O.T.E?
Okay, so O.T.E stands for Overtime Elite. Yeah. It's this super, super new, really, really dope league. We just finished our second season. I'm going to explain the first season because the first and second seasons were like almost completely different. Okay. But the initial intent of Overtime Elite was to have like I don't want to say it. So, you know, you have like your, like the school that Bronny goes to. Yeah. Like, so you have like those like caliber schools. Okay. But O.T.E is a league where it's a program where they bring in some of the top high school guys are from around the world. Like we have a guy from Romania, France, Spain. Like we have people like Brussels, like from around the world, some of the top high school guys. To create this league, they still have the school, but the student to teacher ratio is obviously very small. Top nutrition, top trainers, top facilities, and kind of create this league and make it like, because Overtime Elite, it comes from overtime. So obviously there's like a social aspect to it. And so creating a league to kind of showcase and build up these really stellar high school athletes to go compete against the schools that like Bronny goes to and Mikey Williams and like all those types of things. And so the guys get this is first season. The guys forfeit their amateur status by accepting a salary, a minimum of $100,000. Okay. We got some guys that were paid 16-year-olds, $1.6 million. Like obviously with all the NIL stuff, that was just what they would be making with O.T.E, but they can do whatever else with all the other stuff. Equity in the actual overtime, lawyers, like all sorts of things where essentially they were going to be trained up to make it into the league, and then whatever else their contract. I don't know the details of what their specific contracts look like. And so, like I said, they would not be able to. They can go to college, but they would not be able to play any basketball in college. So for the chance that they wouldn't make it to the league, Overtime still would pay them money towards getting a 4-year education. So either way it goes, they would still be able to go to college, get a degree. They just wouldn't be able to play basketball in college, which obviously there's overseas and all sorts of other things. So super, super dope situation. Our first season concluded, and they were like, you know what, we think we need to add something extra to it. So the second season, they offered to the new kids that we recruited for the second season, they offered either the salary or a scholarship portion. So it's like a, what's the name? Like not a boarding school, but like a,
I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean. I can't think of the name either, but I think I know what you mean.
Yes, like a prep school.
Yeah, prep.
There we go.
Yeah,
like that. Sorry, American words just sometimes just get out my brain. Where you can either accept the financial part or a scholarship. And so all the guys that came in this year were like, no, we're going to do the scholarship, because, you know, you don't realize how much you might think you're league ready until you get amongst guys that really compete at your level. And you're like, okay, maybe I could benefit from a year or two of college, you know? So we have, you know, people like Rob Dillingham and a couple other people that are going to Kentucky and Stanford and all the, you know, next year and all this really dope stuff. And even from a social aspect, you know, O.T.E signed a contract with Amazon Prime. So games on Amazon Prime, GMC, like a lot of dope, like they're moving really quickly. It's a lot of dope stuff. But like I said, it's just a league that houses some of the top high school talent and post-grad talent, with obviously preparing them to go to the league.
Okay. So. And with O.T.E, you've traveled around the world.
No, O.T.E is just in Atlanta.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. So I see you traveling, like, I mean, you're in Africa. You're doing all these things. So what is that? What program or what company allows you to do that type of traveling?
So it depends, because I have my own shows as a DJ. So I've had shows in Nigeria, like I toured in New Zealand. Like all these things are separate from.
Okay. Yeah. That's where I got it mixed up.
But I did DJ for the Basketball Africa League last year.
That's what it is.
Yes. So I was in Senegal, Egypt, and Rwanda. And so the Basketball Africa League is essentially the FIBA of Africa. Right. So it was the music coordinator, DJ, as well as co-host for all three cities for that.
Wow.
Yep.
You just. What I call you, Mrs. Worldwide?
Yeah, but that also takes me back to what we were saying earlier. Like, I'm just putting myself out there. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know music coordination was a thing. I didn't know. I mean, I guess I knew people could DJ for sports teams, but I didn't really. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really. So over the last several years, I'm just like, wow, there's so much opportunity just within DJing, period. And then obviously we had the pandemic, and so then quarantine, and so then online DJing. Like the thing, like it's. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff you can do in this space. I like it.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you know, speaking of pandemic, you know, that's when you started. Well, I don't know if that was the time, but that's when you really like focused on your Twitch. Mm-hmm. And you doing something called Mondays.
Yes.
So for the people that don't know, what is Mondays?
Yes. So I started Music Mondays a couple years back. It was inconsistent. I've been posting inconsistently, but over the last year, it's been a lot more consistent. Yeah. It's basically just a new mix every Monday of what I've been listening to as of late, as I say in my videos, which could be new music, old music, theme music. Like, you know what, actually, let's just do all 90s today, or let's just do, you know, so that's Music Mondays. But once the pandemic hit, I was initially live streaming on Instagram and Facebook, but I kept getting hit with copyright strikes. My brother, who's a gamer, he plays, League of Legends and other stuff. He was like, you know, there's a thing called Twitch. I was like, what's a Twitch? What is that? You know, I was like, damn, I feel old as hell, man, damn. He's like, no, like, it's like a gamer thing, but like they do have DJs on there, and especially now, like more DJs will go on there and DJ, and I don't think you have like the copyright issues. And I was like, well, I can check it out, because like my pages are getting threatened to be shut down, you know? So got on Twitch. Had zero copyright issues. Obviously, at the end, they'll just like mute certain segments based on DCMA stuff. But yeah, so then I migrated over to Twitch, and yeah, so my quarantine and pandemic, because it was weird, like with my job closing. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like, wait, we can't go outside? Right. Like outside. What am I supposed to do now? You know what I'm saying? Right. So thankful for Twitch, because that was able to, you know, I was able to get on there and still do my thing, but just online.
Okay. I love that. And, you know, I tune in to a lot of those Mondays when you're live, and you do play some really, really dope music. And you know, the one thing that I have seen just doing my research and just knowing you, I was reading somewhere where you said like you found your purpose, right? Obviously, your purpose is through music, and being able to impact the world through music. What does that mean to you?
Music to me is a universal language, and I feel like music, without getting too nerdy, you know, the frequencies that music emits have like healing auras, right? And so, because I produce as well, and you know, having been able to travel the world DJing and having my own shows, like my favorite show by far is my Auckland, New Zealand show. And just going there, I don't know why, ignorantly, I was like, I don't know what kind of music they listen to, but apparently we listen to the same music, super ignorant, right? Where I'm like, wow, like we all are connected through music. Like I think I've met like one person that's like, yeah, I don't listen to any music.
I don't think I've ever
nothing,
seen that before.
Like nothing. So when you're in the car,
you just sitting there quiet like this.
Okay. Right. So you're sad or you're, what do you, no, I'm like, nothing.
Right.
I couldn't be me.
Right.
Could not be me. Music is just, I feel like just such a big part of life in general. When you're happy, when you're sad, when you want to convey some emotions to somebody, like, oh, here, listen to the song. Oh, hey, I like this song. Oh, do you hear the drums in here? Oh, these lyrics really speak to, like, music in general just encompasses so much emotion and so much feeling. And I feel like it just really brings people together. And so for me, being able to do that in a way where initially, obviously at first it was through singing and things like that, outside of all the instruments and stuff like that, to then, you know, go into DJing, where during my DJ sets, like live shows, I end up singing as well, you know, so, but singing whatever songs I'm playing depend on the time, because I haven't released new music in a while, you know what I'm saying? So just like encompassing everything that I enjoy about music, and as I mentioned, like the production stuff, so even creating music, like music is just everything. Right. And like, without sounding too like corny, I just love it. I just love it. And so I'm just thankful that I'm able to impact and really, you know, influence a lot of people in that space to want to live their best lives and want to, because that's the thing. Like, you have the power to create the type of life it is that you want to live. It doesn't mean, I'm not saying it's easy, right? I'm not saying it's easy, but like, there are no, if you really think about it, there are no rules to life. Just don't, you know, don't rob, don't kill nobody.
Right.
But there's really no rules. Like, yes, but like not really. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do what you want to do. Now it depends on whatever, right? But like, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. That's how I feel, and figure out a way to make a living out of that, or do that on the side and make a living doing something else. But like, the whole 40-hour work week and, oh, I can't wait till I retire to enjoy my life, that has just never sat well with me. Right. Where it's like, damn, I gotta wait till maybe my knees are stiff and my back hurts and I got a little hunchback and I'm 50 and wrinkly, right? You know, before I can be like, okay, yeah, now that I've put in my 25, 35, 40 years, now I can live my life. No, right. These company don't care about you for real. Right. What you talking about? What you talking about? We listen. Go into the whole thing, but I just create the type of life that is that you want to live, you know, and I'm not saying that as if it's just the easiest thing, because once again, it takes some hard work, but you owe it to yourself to at least try. Yeah. I agree with that, because the one thing about like what we do, you're in a little bit of a different lane, but still entertainment. Consistency, having a plan, and executing are the three is the three things you need to do to be successful in anything that you do, whether you being a doctor, you being a lawyer, content, DJ, just those three things, and you can take life to the next level. I feel like people lack execution, right? Based on, you know, what we were saying before, that they're just afraid to be seen trying. Right. Like, just do it. At the end of it, like, I had seen this video the other day about I forgot what his name was, but I think it was just yesterday, he had said that the Queen Elizabeth, right, the queen that had passed, one of the biggest monarchs ever, wealthiest people, blah 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 blah, she died. Nobody think about that girl. No, I don't mean it like that. No, I know. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you better be careful. Them English people gonna be on your head. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Pip pip. Not the pip pip. I mean it like that, but like, you know, like after you pass, right? Obviously, I'm sure her family, and you know, but like in the grand scheme of things, yeah. Ain't nobody think about you. So just do it. Very true. So just do it. You know, just at least just try. Just try. So that's kind of how I feel.
That's very true. Because once you're gone, and we were saying that when we were coming up here, like once you're gone, the things that you have in life, man, you ain't taking them with you. So you might as well just live your life to the best of your ability.
And be a good human being. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like kindness, I feel like the most powerful thing besides music in this world is love. And I feel like caring about people is something that is just not really always been on the top priority list for people. Right. But just caring enough about, like, we're all here together. Yeah. Earth is breaking down. Listen, we can go into a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just care about each other. Like, especially when the pandemic hit and, like, people were at the gas station filling up gallons for... You're being so selfish.
Yeah, that was
and people
crazy.
got... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
all the toilet paper was off the shelves and all of that.
First of all, let's talk about this.
Okay. I think you look like one of the type of people that went and got, like,
because the thing is, I use toilet paper every day. The people that went and sold out the toilet paper at the grocery stores, what the fuck were y'all using? Right. Where y'all were like, oh my God, we need toilet paper. You didn't need toilet paper every day before today? Like, why is it this? Why is it the toilet paper? Why is that the first, not cans of food?
Right. Toilet paper.
Y'all are dirty.
Yeah. Toilet paper. Bro, I remember going to, like, you know, when the pandemic was, like, really popping. I remember going to, like, Costco, toilet paper, water. I mean, you had to wait in line for that stuff. Yeah, the toilet paper is what really blew me. And you know what's so crazy? I told this story before. Like in 2020, I was in Atlanta, and the one time. Yeah, the one time, like my cousin said, you only been in Atlanta once. The one time I went to Atlanta, I feel like that was right in 2020, right before COVID got announced. I was there, and I honestly feel like I caught COVID then.
I wouldn't doubt it because Atlanta didn't really care. Atlanta was shut down for like 2 weeks.
Listen, when we were down there, parties.
I'm telling you.
Everything popping.
Super Bowl weekend was right around the corner. They literally built. I'm like, y'all built it outside, but it is still inside. They built a big dome-like thing because Atlanta loved their sections and their clubs. Yes, with 79 sections with like a tent type. I mean, it was like good quality, but like just describe it like it was like, just imagine like a big ass tent and a whole bunch of sections under it. Like, oh yeah, we practicing social distancing, we're not inside. No, you're still inside a tent. Yeah, the germs can't fly away in here because it's still closed in. I'm like, oh, y'all really don't care.
Right. So living in Atlanta, you ever been to Magic City? How do you have you ever DJ'd in Magic City?
No, I have not DJ'd.
Would you ever DJ in Magic City if the opportunity arose?
You know, it's funny you say that because in my head, I'm like conflicted, right? Okay. Because being like a woman and all these things, I'm like, you ain't gotta do that, girl. Right. You ain't gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, men already sexualize us enough. Like you in here, that's what they're coming in here for. Like, you ain't gotta do that. Right. But on the other hand, I'm like, girl, go ahead, go crazy. So it's like the like moral, respectful part of me is like, oh no, you can do something else. You ain't gotta do this. The other part of me like,
hey, you better do what you gotta do.
Go ahead, do what you gotta do.
What you talking about? Do what you gotta do. So you been there throwing dollars, huh? When you started out DJing, it was a predominantly male field. Still is a predominantly male field. And I wouldn't say that, female DJs were frowned upon then, but it wasn't easy to get in the doors. Yeah. Do you feel like now in 2023 it's a little bit easier, or is it still those doors are closed? Because you see a lot of, like, now you're starting to see a lot of female DJs pop up and they're popping off and all of that stuff. Do you find that it's a little easier, or is it still as tough as it was then? Yes
and no. And I only say that because I feel like, especially in entertainment, in any space, everything is always, quote unquote, male dominated. And when it comes to entertainment specifically, men tend to think, it's not every man, but men tend to think like, in order for something to be the best, it has to be done by a man. Right. So like if you're, it's the peak of the party, right? Club closed at 3, it's 1:32, everybody's having a great time. Let's have a dude close out the night, because the dude's gonna do it the best, right? Because a woman probably can't do that, and maybe her voice is too. So we don't want to So it's yeah. I say yes and no, and also on top of that, something that I feel like is kind of like a thing in the female DJ community, not amongst but it's been like a thing, is that just as in many other spaces, some female DJs do tend to take advantage of the fact that they look good and then they can't really DJ, and so then that doesn't really set a good standard for women DJs, or like people are just so pressed to get on. Like I'm not doing anything to anybody for anything. You know what I'm saying? Like if something's meant for me, it's meant for me. I'm not sacrificing any of my morals or beliefs to get anywhere I want to go, no matter how good the opportunity might be. And where there are some women that don't care. So like, okay, then. Okay, that's you know what I'm saying. More power to you. That ain't me. I ain't finna be doing that. But more power to you. So that's probably one of the biggest things is that a lot of people are like, oh well, the girls just look good, but they can't really DJ for real. And then like, so why should we give another female DJ a chance? Because so having it's one thing already having to prove yourself in general in this space. Sorry, my eyelash is just having to prove yourself in general because it is the entertainment space, so you do have to show that you're good no matter what it is that you do. But already having that, oh, you're a woman, oh, you're a black woman, oh, you actually are kind of attractive, so you probably don't know how to DJ because you probably just using your looks, or we're putting you on the flyer because we know, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like a big thing. But there are a lot of dope female DJs that also look good.
Right. Yep. Talk your shit.
Period. And that know what they're doing and know how to work the mic and know how to work a crowd. It's just, I think it's really dope that some of these new female rappers now are opting or like, no, I want a female DJ. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's also showing some of the guys that have that type of mindset where it's like, oh, okay. Because back in the day, like female artists had male DJs. Right. You know what I'm saying? And even a lot of dope artists now, like Meg has a male DJ, Lotto has a male DJ. Dope people, you know what I'm saying? But like, Saweetie has a female DJ, Chloe has a female DJ, Lizzo has a female DJ, so I feel like to continue to like build on that, I do feel like that more females should have like female DJs just because you're already as a female artist being undermined anyways. Right. So, let's both like collectively show people that we can both be dope at this stuff. Right. Like Duke Deuce, he's a rapper from Memphis. He's got female DJs. I'm like, that's fine. I think that is so cool. You know what I mean? So, yes and no, but it's gotten like a little bit better, but it's just men still think they do it better. So,
right. Well, I mean, you're living proof that, female DJs can do their thing. Because like I said, I watch you on Twitch when you do your thing. I've never seen you live, but I can only imagine based off of the Twitch thing that I see, I'm like, oh yeah, she probably really rock it for real.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Rock it for real.
I be doing my thing.
You do. Out of all the places that you've been, outside of home, which is Germany, how do you say it again?
Ringsburg.
I just love to hear you say that.
We're going to get you to say it by the end of the day, okay?
Outside of that, what's your favorite place to travel?
So I really like New Zealand. I know I'd mentioned that earlier. But Belize is beautiful. Monaco, oh my goodness.
Monaco
insane.
Sounds like a vibe.
Oh my gosh, insane. Turks and Caicos is very nice. I really want to go to Zanzibar. That's somewhere I have not been. I feel like more people should go to Africa because I feel like there's such a misconception of there. Rwanda, oh my goodness.
To go from where they came from,
oh my gosh,
to where they are now. I've never been, but one of my all-time favorite movies is Hotel Rwanda. Like I'll watch that. Like I'm not even kidding you. I probably will watch that once or twice a month.
Oh, that's fine.
And I love that movie. So I've seen, obviously that's a true story. And then you see like now I look up on YouTube and I'll type in Rwanda and like it's just
Rwanda's and
it's a totally different from
and the people care 90s. Like the people care about where they live.
Right, it's like one of the cleanest places in Africa. I think I read somewhere.
I would say probably one of the cleanest places in the world. Because people Africa dirty, dusty. But have you been to New York?
Right.
Have you been? Have you been there? Have you? I don't be knowing what's be going, but like Rwanda, like they'll have like cleanup days, or they'll have days like even as far as like pollution type things. Like one day out the month, like various locations, like you can't drive in these areas. Like they're promoting walking and biking more, and it's just the people really care, and it's a lot greener than you thought. I didn't think it was going to be that green. Haven't been to Nigeria and then Egypt and all that stuff. I'm like, wow, this is very nice, and the people, and especially given what happened, they're the nicest people I've ever met.
Right. I can imagine. How often do you get back home?
I actually haven't been in a while. I was supposed to go next month, but then got some bookings. So
okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what's coming up for you? What's next for pushing it to the limit?
You know what? I like a Houston show this Saturday.
Right.
And by the time I don't know when this airs, so show probably already happened by the time y'all see this.
Yeah.
Dream season is right around the corner, so we start back in May with that. I have a gig in Nashville coming up. Just several gigs around the States, but I'm really focusing more on production right now. So getting production with major artists, sync licensing, TV placement, film, all that stuff. So
I love that. I love it. So we're gonna see you on the screen, on the big screen pretty soon, huh?
What?
Hopefully.
Like I said, it's more from like a musical, like all the music stuff that you hear, but working on some on-screen things. So you asking all the right questions here. I'm working on some on-screen things.
Okay, so also. Can I ask what or not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I'll
get the scoop off camera, ladies and gentlemen. I'll get the scoop off camera. Yeah. So the last thing that I want to ask you is, you're obviously a great example for young ladies around the world, including my own daughter, who I showed your stuff.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
What would be something that you would tell a young lady? Maybe not necessarily getting into DJing or maybe wanting to get into DJing, but just being a multicultural woman, black woman, growing up in society today. What would be a message that you would want to tell people?
Just try things you want to try and know that there will be people that will discourage you. There will be people that will make you second guess things. There will be times, trials and tribulations, right? But staying true to yourself, I think it sounds very cliche, but I feel like it's very undervalued. And learning about yourself will then help you stay true to yourself. So even me, I'm learning more things about myself as a woman every day. And so what I thought I knew or how I thought things were supposed to be even five years ago, right? 5, 10, 15 years ago, I'm like, girl, you tripping. What? But like always going into things with the best intentions, always being open to learn, to be a sponge, no matter what space it is that you're in, and just truly just embracing who you are and where you are at that current time and not trying to think too far ahead. Now you can have goals, you can have aspirations, all these things, but as somebody who thought that I knew what my life was going to look like for the rest of my life, and I'm like, because if I would have been playing basketball, I'm certain I would have never been a DJ. Right. But clearly this is what I'm supposed to do. So whereas at that time I was disappointed in myself because I'm like, damn, like I'm really not hooping anymore. Like, what is my life? Like I had a whole episode. Right. I was down and out for a while. I can imagine. And especially because I tied basketball as my identity. So it was like it went even deeper. When it was like, oh yeah, when you talk about, oh yeah, Jay, you play basketball, yeah, of course. Right. It's like that. I unintentionally made that my identity. So then when I stopped, I was like, I know I have things going for myself, but it didn't feel like it because I was like, I let that identify who I was when my life just getting started. You know what I'm saying? And I had no idea what was in store, let alone any of this stuff. Right. So just embracing the season that you're in and having goals and having aspirations and working towards those, but not when something's for you, it is for you. And so if it starts to veer off that track, no matter how hard you're working, no matter how hard you're trying, you're probably supposed to pivot. And the pivot, there's nothing wrong with a pivot. A pivot isn't a closed door. It isn't because clearly I thought the basketball door was closed and it was just cracked. Right. It wasn't all the way closed.
Yeah,
you can always circle back. Always spin the block. You can do a little wraparound. You know what I'm saying? Do a little wraparound.
Yes, ma'am.
But just, different parts and different seasons of your life require different versions of yourself. And so just staying on that trajectory and allowing yourself to just soak in all the things that you learned about yourself and just anything else, I feel like would put you on the best journey to making sure that you are living the best kind of life that you want to live.
I love that. All right. So now I got to get a little messy.
Lord.
Yeah, now I got to get a little messy.
Yeah,
it's always. So being somebody that's in the music industry, entertainment, DJ, you saw the Time magazine. I think it was Time magazine. Top 50 rappers of all time. So it's a 2-part question. Okay. Who are your top 5 female rappers?
That's not fair.
It is fair.
That is not fair.
I told you I was going to get messy.
That's not fair. That is not fair. In no particular order. Oh, man. Lauryn Hill.
Love it.
Missy Elliott.
Love it.
You said just rappers, right? Not artists.
You could if you
No. We got it because if we do artists, I won't be able to answer that. So just rappers.
Yeah, just rappers.
Look him.
Okay, it's a good one too.
See, I can't just do 5.
Okay.
5. Pick Foxy.
Oh, I love Foxy.
Nicki to me.
Okay.
Is the greatest female bar for bar lyricist. As far
over
as
Lauryn?
Over Lauryn, and in the sense of metaphorically putting bars together.
Okay.
In that sense.
Okay.
Now, Lauren to me in general encompasses a lot more things that I,
Right.
but as far as like double, triple entendres, all that stuff, to me, that's Nikki's lane.
Okay.
That's Nikki's lane.
Okay.
But as far as content and impactful things, Lauren got that.
Yeah,
Back in the day,
Lauren was.
She was snapping. I ain't saying she not snapping, and it was never. But like from
I feel that.
like a
I
Lil
can
Wayne
understand
type thing.
I can understand
like,
that.
when
I
people
can
talk about
understand
rappers, like male rappers, then they have
we're
that
gonna get to
conversation
that
about.
too.
Yeah, they have the conversation about Lil Wayne. Like he might not be the greatest rapper of all time, but like metaphorically, like bar for bar, like things like wait, what you said? What?
Right.
Absolutely. So that's kind of what I mean in that sense.
I get it. So that's a good list. That was 5. That's a good list.
Oh my God, yeah. See, and now I'm gonna leave here and be like, I should have said it. And all the female rappers, y'all all 5.
Yeah,
y'all
there you go. So
all
now
5.
we got to get to the males.
Oh gosh.
This is gonna be a hard one. Top 5 male rappers of all time in your opinion.
3 Stacks.
Love that.
Lil Wayne.
Love that.
Oh my God. Why are you doing this to me? Oh man. Jay-Z.
Okay.
Tupac.
Okay.
Just 5. Oh my God. I feel like Big Sean.
Big Sean.
Mm-hmm.
No love for Notorious.
No, not no love, not at all.
I mean, in the top 5 is what I'm saying.
That's why I said I can't do top 5.
No,
I can't do
you
5.
Y'all heard this. She left B.I.G.
He is one of the greatest rappers of all
out
time.
of her top 5.
No, he is one of the greatest rappers of all time. I am not negating that at all, nor will I ever.
Okay.
That's why I say it. Like I can't. He was absolutely. Anytime you mention Tupac, Biggie, or one or the other, but I'm just like I can't. That's why I said I can't just do 5.
You're right.
Because I can keep going.
Yeah. Okay, so no, it's great. 2 great lists. And the last question, being that you're somebody that grew up playing basketball, it's kind of the same.
Oh,
thing. Yeah.
Lord. Okay.
Yep.
I think I know where this is
going.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Kobe.
Really?
Are you saying, I'm assuming you were going to say Kobe, Michael Jordan, LeBron?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Kobe.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And not why?
LeBron, great player. Michael Jordan, great player. But I feel like LeBron, very special. Michael Jordan, very special. But I feel like there was just something about Kobe and the way his approach to the game, and like something that stands out to me that I think about sometimes, like when, all the injuries that he's played through and all that, and people are like, why are you breaking your, just take, sit out at least one game.
Right.
And he's like, I don't know who in that stands could put together their last pennies, right, or who was like, I've been waiting all my life to see Kobe Bryant play a basketball game, and I pull up to the game and he's out because he's tired, right, or whatever. And no shade to LeBron, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. One of the greatest players ever, and I like LeBron, right? But like,
I feel it.
I done been to a game where I'm like, I can't wait to watch a movie. When you tired, you ain't playing the game. Right. I could still come to another one. I don't, but there are other people that might not be able to. Right. So like having that passion, not saying that Michael isn't passionate, passionate, anything like that, but like having that I feel like they're passionate, but like I feel like Kobe just like took it to like the next level. And then outside of that, even his support for women's basketball, anything, yes, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, oh, it wasn't a social media thing, or like, let me talk about this right now, or like being that he has, his kid. I would just, and like as a human being, obviously I've never met him, but I know people that have met him, talked to him, had conversations, I've worked with him, have had nothing but the best things to say about him. And somebody who's achieved the things that he's achieved and has competed at the highest level of basketball and is always going to be one of the 3 people in that conversation. Always. Like I think Kobe got it.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I appreciate it.
What about you?
Mm-hmm. Kobe.
Don't feel okay. That's fine. That's what I say. Don't feel so good being in the hot seat now. Do it.
You know what it is about Kobe is a lot of the same thing that you said, but the one thing that stood out to me about Kobe that's probably not even having to do with basketball. Mamba mentality is a mentality that I try. Well, I'm not gonna say that I didn't try to encompass it throughout my life, but really for sure in 2023, yeah, I said Mamba mentality. Yeah. No matter what happens, I have to practice, which is my practice is this. I want to become a great podcast host. I got to get the reps. I got to go even when I don't feel like going. Mm-hmm. I got to go even when I'm injured. Mm-hmm. I got to go.
Gotta do it.
So I really try to adapt the mama mentality in 2023 and beyond.
Yeah.
So everything that he accomplished on the court, but also more so out the court too. Mm-hmm. That is just something that just resonates with me to the 24th power. You know what I mean?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So that's it. And then, with Kobe, it's a game, recognized game. You see what I did there, too?
I see what you did there.
You see what I did there, too?
Yeah,
Anyway, so I appreciate you coming through. I know you got a lot of things going on. You're in LA for just a few days. Thank you so much. This is one that I really, really wanted to do when I first hit you up. I'm like, yes, she's going to come on. I really wanted you because I feel like your story, and you didn't disappoint.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me. And
thank
you for thinking of me.
Yeah, of course.
For sure.
Of course. You were like, when I first started doing this, you were one of the first people that I hit up.
Oh, dope. Because I know our connection initially was obviously through Call of Duty.
Right. I didn't get to the Call of Duty stuff just because, I don't really care about Call of Duty as much anymore.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
And I know you like, do you still play?
I do still play.
A little bit.
Yeah. I got into Call of Duty during quarantine.
Right.
My brother, once again, he's been a gamer.
Right.
So he had, what was it? I guess the first ever Black Ops with zombies.
Yeah.
The Kino and 5 and stuff.
Yeah.
That was my first introduction. I played zombies and I played a little bit of multiplayer, but after that, I literally never played Call of Duty again. And then over quarantine, when my job was closed, one of my really good friends, Anthony, he was like, oh yeah, get on Warzone. I was like, what the hell is Warzone? Yeah. He's like, Call of Duty. I was like, I do not play first person shooter games. Like, what is it? He's like, it's free. I was like, you should have started with that. Okay, I guess I'm gonna use it. It's free. I'll go get it. Yeah. And I actually started playing Call of Duty when it was DMR zone or whatever. So I was like, wow, I am terrible.
Oh,
so
you picked
that
it
was
up then.
Yeah, that's when I picked it up. So that was, and I was playing on a big ass TV controller.
Oh, you were tripping.
I was
you out there sitting on a TV like that's as big as this, like 60,
bigger than that.
Yeah,
it was like 80,
like the one over there on that wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a super casual, super casual. So then with the Twitch thing, that was also interesting because once I got into the Call of Duty space, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, people play. I was like, people sit here and watch people play the game. I'm like, okay. My brother was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, let me go look around. Let me go look around Twitch a little bit. And that's when I was like first looking for or realized the lack of representation in that. I mean, we can go into that whole thing. I know, but
no, we can. Let's go.
No, I was saying I know you said you didn't want to talk about that.
No, not that I didn't want to talk about. I just didn't get to it just because COD is not
top of mind for you.
Yeah, but go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say looking for. I'm like, dude, I know black people play the game.
Right.
Where y'all at on here? And so obviously, one of the first people that even my friend Anthony was talking about, and then that I did see on Twitch was Swag. And so I was like, okay, so and not just the smaller viewership and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, he's doing this thing that's really dope. Let me go look for other people. That was a struggle, and I was like, let me go try looking for women, right? I was scroll. I was like, okay, so I'm sure that there are other black women gamers. Where y'all at?
Right, right.
And so then we started getting into the community a little bit more because I was just playing for fun. But me being a competitive person, I was like, I need to get better at this game, And so then I was looking, and then that's how I came across Shauna, and I was like, yes, okay, finally a black woman. Like, oh my God, it took a while. And I remember I'd reached out to Swag initially, and I was like, yo, super new to Twitch, came across your channel. I love what you're doing. I think this is really dope, from a representation part. And so then heading up Shauna, I was like, hey, I don't know if you ever play with people that don't play Call of Duty professionally. Right. But if you ever wanted to run some games, I'm not terrible, and so that's how her and I got connected. And then I was like, can you tell me if there are other black girl gamers? And she's like, oh yeah, this. I was like, okay, so I guess I just had to be really, really in it just to know which I'm thankful for. But I'm like, I wish there was more of a platform for that. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother story, but. Yeah, and so then she invited me to the Vanguard event, and then that's
how we met.
That's how we met.
Okay, okay, that's where you called me T Dusty.
That's where I called you T Dusty.
Yeah. And you know what made me mad? I was actually super clean that night. You was
real clean.
I was clean that night too.
This is giving hip. Yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I was super clean.
You
were
super clean that night.
Yeah. That is what I do. You one of them ones. You know what I'm saying? A little drip check. You one of them. Like I was telling my cousin, when I post outfits or I post stuff, there's only a handful of people that I'm looking at. I'm gonna see what they wear when they go out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
yeah, for sure.
My boy Shady is one of them.
Okay.
Dante, he's one of them.
He got some sneakers.
Yeah,
he got some.
I like looking at myself sometimes.
Yeah, you be fresh. You be clean.
I appreciate
you be clean.
that.
I ain't gonna hold you.
And you're definitely somebody that I look at and I'm like, okay, she one of them ones too.
I appreciate that.
Yes, man.
Thank
you put that shit on.
Hey, thank you.
You put that shit on. You feel me? But anyway, so again, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you so much for coming through and hanging out. And maybe one day you'll get me back on COD. I don't know. We'll see.
Listen, I understand the community's qualms with the current state of the game. I completely understand. I still prefer the first Warzone over this one. Obviously, I'm still considered, I would say, pretty new into the community anyway. So I'm like, why are the devs not listening to the things? And if this is if it ain't broke, no, you know what I'm saying? Man. But that's neither here nor there, and I don't know the answers. But if you ever do get back on Warzone, I will be on there.
All right. So that's been JayShale. She pushed it to the limit today. Push it to the limit.
Hey,
thank you guys for watching the Game Recognize Game podcast. Again, if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button one time. For the one time, we'd appreciate it. Make sure you turn on those post notifications so you can be up to date with every single video that we drop. We appreciate you. We appreciate JayShale. And we will see you in the next one. Deuces. Peace. Yes.